Captain Jake Morrison stood in his office aboard the merchant ship Stellar Wanderer. The blue-skinned Corvani captain looked at the crew assignment list on his desk. His 4 eyes scanned the names carefully. Most were familiar species he had worked with before. Zephyrians were good workers. The Crystalline Collective always followed rules. Velari were careful and smart. Then he saw 2 names that made him pause. Lisa Kane and Ryan Blake, both were listed as human. Jake had heard stories about humans. Every captain in the galaxy had heard stories about humans. They were the species that other species whispered about in dark corners of space stations. They were the ones who made even the bravest alien warriors nervous. The door chimed. His first officer, Vexhai, walked in. The tall Zephyrian had pale blue skin and large black eyes. His pointed ears twitched as he saw the crew list. "Captain," Vexhai said in his careful voice, "I see we have humans on this mission." Jake nodded. 2 of them, an engineer and a security officer. Vexhai's ears drooped. "I have been reading the reports about humans. They are unusual." "Unusual how?" Jake asked, though he already knew. Vexhai pulled out his datapad. The screen glowed with dozens of incident reports. Last month, a human engineer named Pete Williams fixed a broken warp drive using kitchen utensils and dental floss. The ship was falling into a black hole. His solution should not have worked, but it did. Jake raised one eyebrow. "And? 3 weeks ago, a human security officer named Amy Foster stopped a pirate attack using the ship's waste recycling system. She turned garbage into weapons. The pirates surrendered because they were too confused to fight." "Go on," Vexhai scrolled through more reports. "A human named Tony Martinez once fixed a life support system using parts from a broken coffee maker. Another human, Kate Johnson, defeated an entire boarding party using nothing but a mop and some cleaning supplies." Jake sat back in his chair. "They sound resourceful." "They sound terrifying," Vexhai corrected. "Captain, humans do not think like other species. They look at problems and see solutions that violate physics. They take dangerous situations and somehow make them worse and better at the same time." The door chimed again. This time, Thyren entered. She was another Zephyrian, shorter than Vexhai, with silver markings on her blue skin. She worked as their communications officer. "Captain," she said, "I have been talking to other ships about humans. The stories are incredible." "Good incredible. Or bad incredible?" Jake asked. "Both," Thyren replied. "Humans have a success rate of 97% on impossible missions. But they also have a 100% rate of doing things that make other species question reality." A musical chime filled the room. The sound came from Resonance of Order, the Crystalline Collective representative. The being looked like a walking collection of colorful crystals. When it spoke, its voice was like wind through glass. "The humans disturb the harmony of predictable outcomes," it sang. "They create chaos where order should exist. Yet their chaos produces results that order cannot achieve." Jake looked at his senior staff. "Are you all afraid of 2 humans?" "Yes," they answered together. "But," Vexhai added, "we also understand why they are requested for every dangerous mission. Humans do not see impossible. They see interesting." A soft knock came at the door. Jake called for the person to enter. A small, furry creature walked in. Soft swimming in depths was from the Velari species. She looked like a cross between a cat and an octopus with tentacles instead of arms. Her people were known for being very careful and avoiding danger. "Captain," she said in a voice like whispered silk, "I must request a transfer off this ship." "Why?" Jake asked. "The humans," she said, her tentacles curling with nervousness. "My people have stories about humans. We call them the Chaos Bringers. They are the ones who look at safe situations and find ways to make them exciting." Jake stood up. "The mission is simple. We transport quantum processors to New Cygnus. It's a routine cargo run. Nothing is routine when humans are involved." Resonance of Order chimed. "They will find a way to make it interesting." "Besides," Thyren added, "we're flying through contested space. Pirates have been active in that area." If we encounter trouble, the humans will want to fight back. Fighting is what security officers do, Jake pointed out. Human security officers fight differently, Vexai explained. They use things that are not weapons as weapons. They turn defensive situations into offensive ones. They make pirates. Surrender by confusing them to death. The door chimed one more time. Everyone in the room tensed. 2 humans walked in. Lisa Kane was a woman in her 30s with brown hair tied back in a practical ponytail. She wore a jumpsuit covered in pockets, and each pocket bulged with tools and spare parts. Her tool belt looked like it had been assembled from a dozen different sources. She smiled brightly at everyone. "Hi there," she said cheerfully. "I'm Lisa, your new engineer. I'm really excited to work with you all." Behind her walked Ryan Blake. He was a tall man with short black hair and calm green eyes. He wore a simple uniform, but Jake noticed how his eyes moved around the room, cataloging exits and potential threats. He nodded politely to everyone. "Ryan Blake, security," he said simply. The alien crew members stared at them. Lisa seemed completely unaware of the tension in the room. She was already looking at a wall panel, her head tilted as she studied its design. "Oh, this is interesting," she said, pulling out a small device. "Your power distribution system is running at about 60% efficiency. I could probably boost that to 90% with a few modifications." Vexai's ears went flat against his head. "Modifications? Sure," Lisa said happily. "I've got some spare parts that would work perfectly. Just need to reroute some conduits and maybe rewire the main junction box." "The main junction box is a sealed unit," Resonance of Order chimed nervously. "It cannot be modified without voiding safety certifications," Lisa laughed. "Oh, I never worry about certifications. I focus on what works." Meanwhile, Ryan was studying each alien crew member. His gaze was not threatening, but it was thorough. He was automatically assessing their physical capabilities, their potential in a fight, and their likely reactions to danger. "Nice ship," he said to Jake. "Good sight lines in the corridors, multiple escape routes from each section. The cargo bay could be easily defended if needed." "We're not expecting to need to defend anything," Jake said. Ryan shrugged. "I always expect trouble. That way I'm never disappointed." Lisa had moved to another wall panel and was making notes on her tablet. "Your environmental systems are really inefficient too. I could probably improve air recycling by 40%. Maybe add some backup systems using parts from the galley." Soft swimming in depths tentacles were now wrapped tightly around her body. "She wants to modify life support using kitchen equipment. It's just creative engineering," Lisa said with a grin. "You'd be surprised what you can do with a food processor and some spare wire." Jake looked at his crew. The aliens were all staring at the humans with a mixture of fascination and terror. The humans, meanwhile, seemed completely normal and friendly. "Well," Jake said, "I think we should start the mission briefing." As everyone sat down around the conference table, Jake noticed something interesting. The aliens couldn't stop watching the humans. It was like they were studying exotic and dangerous animals. The humans, for their part, seemed oblivious to the attention. This was going to be an interesting trip. 3 days into their journey, the Stellar Wanderer was running smoothly through space. The alien crew members had been watching the humans carefully, but Lisa and Ryan seemed perfectly normal. Lisa spent her time in the engine room, humming. While she worked, Ryan walked the ship's corridors, checking security systems and being polite to everyone. Vexai was starting to think maybe the stories about humans were exaggerated. Then the alarm started screaming, "Captain to the bridge!" Thyron's voice crackled over the comm system. "We have a problem." Jake rushed to the bridge with his senior staff. The main screen showed a terrifying sight. A massive star nearby was throwing out huge solar flares. The radiation was heading straight for their ship. "How long until it hits us?" Jake asked. 14 minutes, Vexai reported, his voice tight with fear. "The radiation will overload our shields and cook us alive." Resonance of Order's crystals were flashing rapid colors. "We must evacuate immediately. Launch the escape pods and hope for rescue." Soft swimming in depths was already backing toward the door. My people's wisdom says to flee from certain death. Wait, Thyron said, staring at her instruments. Captain, this isn't natural. The flare pattern is too regular. Someone is causing this. Jake frowned. Pirates? Has to be, Ryan's voice came from behind them. The human security officer had arrived on the bridge. Classic ambush tactic. Create a crisis, then attack when the target is distracted. But we need to deal with the radiation first, Vexhai said. We have 13 minutes. Where's Lisa? Ryan asked. Engine room, Jake replied. Ryan smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. She's probably already working on it. As if summoned by his words, Lisa's cheerful voice came over the comm. Hey, everyone! I see we've got a little radiation problem. No worries, I've got an idea. A little radiation problem? Vexhai repeated weakly. Lisa, Jake called, what are you planning? Well, Lisa's voice was muffled, like she was crawling through a maintenance tunnel. I'm thinking we can use the solar radiation instead of fighting it, turn it into a weapon. That's impossible, Resonance of Order chimed. Solar radiation cannot be weaponized by a merchant vessel. Oh, you'd be surprised, Lisa said. There were clanging sounds in the background. I'm rerouting power through the coffee maker in the galley. It's got really good heat distributors. The coffee maker? Soft Swimming in Depths whispered. And I'm using some spare conduit I found in Storage Bay 3. Plus this really interesting crystalline structure I borrowed from the geology lab. She's building a weapon out of kitchen appliances and rock samples, Thyron said faintly. Actually, Lisa's voice was getting more excited. I'm building a shield that can redirect energy. The radiation will hit us, but instead of frying us, it'll bounce off and fry whoever is hiding behind that asteroid. What asteroid? Jake asked. Ryan pointed. At the screen. The one right there? See how it's positioned perfectly to hide a ship. And notice how it's not tumbling like the others? Someone's controlling it. The alien crew members looked where Ryan was pointing. They saw nothing but empty space and rocks. I don't see anything, Vexhai said. Trust me, Ryan said. There's a cloaked ship behind that asteroid. Probably a modified raider. They're using the solar flare to mask their energy signature. How can you possibly know that? Resonance of Order asked. Experience, Ryan said simply. Lisa, how's that shield coming? Almost done. Lisa's voice was happy. Just need to calibrate the quantum flux through the coffee maker's heating element. She's calibrating quantum flux. Through a coffee maker, Soft Swimming in Depth repeated, her tentacles curling tighter. And I'm using the waste recycling system as a launching mechanism, Ryan added casually. Everyone turned to stare at him. What? Jake asked. While you were. All watching the radiation, I was preparing for the real attack. I've loaded the recycling system with some creative ammunition. When that cloaked ship reveals itself, I'll be ready. What kind of ammunition? Vexhai asked, though he looked like he didn't want to know. Kitchen waste, mostly. Some expired. Food packets, coffee grounds, and a few other things. When fired at high velocity, garbage makes excellent projectiles. He's turning our trash into weapons, Theron said wonderingly. Done, Lisa announced. Shield is online. Everyone might want to hold on to something. The ship shuddered as Lisa's makeshift shield activated. The main screen showed something. Impossible. The deadly solar radiation was hitting their ship, but instead of destroying them, it was bending around them like water around a rock. It's working, Vexhai breathed. Of course it's working, Lisa said proudly. I told you the coffee maker had good heat distributors. Suddenly, the empty space behind the asteroid shimmered. A sleek raider ship appeared, its cloak failing as the redirected radiation hit it. There's our friend, Ryan said. Time for some recycling. The raider ship was trying to escape, but its systems were damaged by the radiation. Ryan's improvised weapon system fired. A stream of garbage shot out of the Stellar Wanderer's waste system. He's shooting trash at them, Soft Swimming in Depths. Sighed. Not just trash, Ryan corrected. Strategically aimed trash. Those coffee grounds will gum up their air filters. The food waste will create a biohazard in their ventilation system, and the other stuff will just be really annoying to clean up. The raider ship's engines sputtered and died. The pirates inside. We're probably dealing with a ship full of smelly, sticky garbage. Raider ship is disabled, Farron reported. They're requesting medical assistance? Medical assistance? Jake asked. Apparently their entire ship smells like rotten eggs and coffee, she said. The crew is getting sick. Lisa's voice came over the come again. Oh, and Captain? I may have made a few permanent modifications to our systems. The coffee maker is now part of our defensive array. The waste recycling system has been upgraded to a multi-purpose launcher. And I've improved our engine efficiency by about 30%. How? Resonance of Order asked. I used the crystalline structure from the geology lab to create a better energy matrix. It's humming really nicely now. Jake looked around the bridge. His alien crew members were staring at the humans with a new expression. It wasn't fear anymore. It was something between awe and confusion. Let me understand this, Vexhai said slowly. You detected an ambush, turned solar radiation into a weapon, and defeated pirates using garbage and kitchen equipment. Pretty much, Ryan said. And it only took 12 minutes, Lisa added cheerfully. This is why humans terrify the galaxy, Soft Swimming in Depths whispered. Why? Jake asked. Because they make the impossible look easy, she replied. They turn disasters into victories. They use tools that should not work, but somehow do. Plus, Thyron added, they seem to enjoy it. During the crisis, they were happy. Crises are fun, Lisa said. They let you be creative. Most species try to avoid dangerous situations, Resonance of Order observed. Humans appear to seek them out. Not seek them out, Ryan corrected. We just don't run away from them. When trouble finds us, we deal with it. By turning coffee makers into weapons, Vexhai said. By using whatever works, Lisa said. Why limit yourself to official equipment when there's so much useful stuff lying around? Jake noticed something interesting. His crew was no longer huddled together in fear. They were spreading out, looking at the humans with curiosity instead of terror. Captain, Theron said, I'm receiving a message from the raider ship. They want to know what we hit them with. Tell them it was garbage, Ryan said. They won't believe that. Tell them it was human garbage, Lisa added. That'll make more sense to them. As the Stellar Wanderer resumed course, leaving the disabled raider behind, Jake realized something had changed. His crew was different now. They had watched the humans work, seen their methods, and something had shifted. So, he said to his senior staff, what do you think of our human crew members now? They're still terrifying, Vexhai admitted. But they're terrifying in a useful way. I want to learn how they think, Thyron said. Their problem-solving methods could be valuable. Their chaos produces harmony, Resonance of Order chimed. It is disturbing but effective. I am no longer afraid, Soft Swimming in Depth said quietly. I am curious, Jake smiled. This was exactly what he had hoped would happen. The humans weren't just crew members. They were teachers showing the other species new ways to think about problems. Well, he said, let's see what else this trip has in store for us. In the engine room, Lisa was humming again as she fine-tuned her coffee maker weapon system. In the security office, Ryan was cataloging new ways to use household items as defensive tools. Neither human realized they had just changed the way an entire crew thought about the universe. 2 days after the solar flare incident, the Stellar Wanderer was flying through the Corvin asteroid field. It was a tricky bit of space navigation, but the route saved them 3 days of travel time. Jake was confident in his pilot's skills, and the ship's navigation system was military-grade. Then everything went wrong at once. Navigation is down. Thyron called from her station. Complete system failure. Emergency stop, Jake ordered, full reverse. But the ship didn't respond. They were flying blind through a field of spinning rocks, each one big enough to crush their ship. Engine control is not responding, Vexhai reported. We're running on momentum only. How is that possible? Jake demanded. These systems have triple redundancy, Someone has sabotaged us, Ryan said calmly. He was studying his security console. This wasn't an accident. The failures are too coordinated. Pirates again? Jake asked. Has to be. They've probably been following us since the solar flare incident. This is a trap. On the main screen, asteroids tumbled past them. Some were as small as cars, others as big as buildings. The ship was drifting toward a particularly large one. Time to impact? Jake asked. 4 minutes, Vexhai said. Maybe less. Resonance of Order's crystals were flashing emergency colors. We must transmit a distress beacon and hope for rescue. No time, Soft Swimming in Depth said. My peoples? Calculations show 0 chance of rescue before impact. Then we abandon ship, Jake decided. Launch the escape pods. Wait, Lisa's voice came over the comm. I'm in the entertainment section. I think I can fix this. The entertainment section? Jake asked. What are you doing there? Well, I noticed the navigation failure seemed to be affecting the holographic systems too, so I thought maybe they're connected somehow. They're not connected, Vexhai said. Navigation and entertainment are completely separate systems. Actually, Lisa said, and they could hear her moving around, everything on a ship is connected if you think about it creatively. I'm looking at the holographic projectors, and they're really just 3-dimensional mapping systems. Lisa, Jake said carefully, please tell me you're not planning to navigate using the entertainment system. That's exactly what I'm planning. These projectors can create detailed 3-dimensional images. If I can link them to the sensor array, I can map the entire asteroid field in real time. The sensor array is also damaged, Thyron reported. Not damaged, Ryan corrected, jammed. There's a ship out there broadcasting interference. I can see it on the short-range scanners. How can you see it if it's jamming us? Vexhai asked. Because humans don't just look at what sensors tell them. Ryan explained. We look at what sensors don't tell us. The jamming signal has a source. Find the source, find the ship. But we still can't navigate, Resonance of Order chimed. Actually, Lisa said, I'm already working on that. I'm connecting the holographic projectors to the emergency lighting system. Emergency lights have their own power source and simple sensors for detecting obstacles. Emergency lights don't have navigation sensors, Soft Swimming in Depths protested. They do now, Lisa said cheerfully. I'm also using the kitchen timer from the galley. It's got a really accurate chronometer that can calculate orbital mechanics. She's building a navigation system out of party decorations and kitchen appliances, Theron said. Plus, Lisa continued, I found some really interesting crystals in the geology samples. They resonate at specific frequencies when exposed to electromagnetic fields. Those are my research samples, Resonance of Order said. Don't worry, I'm not breaking them. I'm just borrowing their natural properties. They're perfect for detecting mass signatures. 3 minutes to impact. Lisa, Jake said, I need to know if this is going to work. Oh, it'll work, Lisa said. I just need to calibrate the quantum resonance matrix through the coffee maker's heating element. She's using the coffee maker again, Vexhai said weakly. The coffee maker is now part of our primary systems, Lisa explained. It's got excellent heat distribution and energy regulation. Perfect for managing power flow. 2 minutes to impact, Theron reported. Meanwhile, Ryan said, I'm going to deal with our pirate friends. I've been tracking their jamming signal. They're hiding behind that big asteroid cluster to our port. Sighed. How are you going to deal with them? Jake asked. I'm going to use the waste recycling system again. But this time, I'm loading it with something special. What? Kitchen supplies? Specifically, the automatic flour dispenser from the baker's station, mixed with some pressurized cooking oil and a few other ingredients. He's making weapons out of baking supplies, Soft Swimming in Depths whispered. Not weapons, Ryan corrected. Distractions. When this mixture hits their ship, it's going to create a cloud of sticky, flammable particles. Their sensors will be useless, and if they try to fire weapons, they'll risk blowing themselves up. 1 minute to impact, Theron announced. Got it, Lisa shouted. Navigation is online. The main screen suddenly lit up with a perfect three-dimensional map of the asteroid field. Every rock was clearly visible, along with their trajectory and the safest route through. "How is this possible?" Vexhai asked, staring at the display. "I told you," Lisa said proudly. "I used the holographic projectors to create a three-dimensional map. The emergency lighting system is detecting obstacles, the kitchen timer is calculating. Orbital mechanics and the crystals are measuring mass signatures." "And the coffee maker?" Jake asked. "It's regulating power flow to all the systems. Plus, it's brewing a really nice cup of coffee Target acquired," Ryan announced. "Firing flour-based countermeasures." The waste recycling system launched its unusual payload. A cloud of flour and cooking oil shot toward the hidden pirate ship. When it hit, the enemy vessel was suddenly surrounded by a glittering cloud of particles. "Direct hit," Ryan reported. "They're blind and their weapons are offline." "Navigation is fully functional," Lisa added. "I've also improved our maneuverability by about 40%. "How?" Jake asked. "I linked the new navigation system to the engine controls. Now we can fly through asteroid fields like we're dancing." And they were dancing. The ship moved through the asteroids with fluid grace, avoiding obstacles that would have been impossible to see with regular navigation. "This is beautiful," Thyron said, watching the display. "We're flying through space. Like birds through trees." "The harmony is perfect," Resonance of Order chimed. "Chaos and order working together." "I want to learn this," Vexhai said. "How do humans see connections that we miss?" "We don't just use things for their intended purpose," Lisa explained. "We think about what they can do, not what they're supposed to do, and we don't accept limitations," Ryan added. "When someone says something is impossible, we ask why. Usually the answer is just that no one has tried the right approach yet." Jake noticed something interesting. His crew was no longer just watching the humans work. They were starting to participate. "Captain," Thyron said, "I'm detecting interference patterns in the pirates' jamming signal. If I adjust our communications array, I might be able to turn." "They're jamming against them. How?" Jake asked. "I'm learning from Lisa's methods. Instead of fighting the jamming, I'll redirect it. Use their own signal to broadcast a surrender demand." "That's brilliant," Ryan said. "Vexhai, can you calculate the exact frequency needed?" "I'm already working on it," Vexhai replied. "If I use the same mathematical principles Lisa used for navigation, I should be able to create a feedback loop in their systems. And I can provide harmonic resonance," Resonance of Order added. "My natural frequencies can amplify the signal." "I will use my species' natural camouflage to hide our energy signature," Soft Swimming in Depth said. "Make us invisible while we work." Jake watched in amazement as his crew worked together. They were using human methods, but applying their own species' abilities. The result was something entirely new. "Signal ready," Thyron announced. "Mathematical calculations complete," Vexhai reported. "Harmonic amplification standing by," Resonance of Order chimed. "Camouflage active," Soft Swimming in Depth said. "Execute," Jake ordered. The pirate ship, still blinded by flour and oil, suddenly received a transmission on its own jamming frequency. The message was simple: surrender now or face more creative weapons. "They're responding," Thyron said. "They want to know what we'll do if they don't surrender." "Tell them we have humans," Ryan suggested. "They're asking what humans will do to them." "Tell them we'll get creative," Lisa said cheerfully. There was a long pause. Then the pirate ship's jamming stopped completely. "They're surrendering," Thyron reported. "They said they don't want to find out what human creativity means." "Navigation is clear," Lisa announced. "We can continue to our destination." As the Stellar Wanderer left the asteroid field behind, Jake looked at his crew. They were different now. They weren't just following human methods anymore. They were adapting them, making them their own. "So," he said, "what did we learn today?" "That humans don't just solve problems," Vexhai said. "They teach others to solve problems. They show us possibilities we never considered," Thyron added. "Their chaos creates new forms of harmony," Resonance of Order observed. They make fear into curiosity, Soft Swimming in Depth said quietly. And, Jake added, they make the impossible look easy. In the entertainment section, Lisa was putting the finishing touches on her now. The Stellar Wanderer was only 6 hours away from New Cygnus when the pirate fleet appeared. Not one ship this time, but 12. They dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation, surrounding the merchant vessel like wolves around a wounded. "Dear, this is War Chief Kreshtar of the Saurian Raiders," a harsh voice crackled over the comm. "You will surrender your cargo immediately, or we will space your entire crew." Jake stared at the main screen. 12 heavily armed warships faced his single merchant vessel. Each one was twice the size of the Stellar Wanderer and bristling with weapons. It should have been hopeless. "Captain," Vexhai said quietly, "we should surrender." 12 ships against one is impossible odds. "Agreed," Resonance of Order chimed. "Mathematical probability of survival is 0.03%. My people's wisdom says to yield to superior force," Soft Swimming in Depths added, her tentacles curled with fear. Jake was about to respond when he noticed something. Lisa and Ryan were no longer on the bridge. "Where are the humans?" he asked. "Lisa went to the maintenance tunnels," Theron reported. Ryan said he needed to check something in the armory. "We don't have an armory," Jake said. "We do now," Ryan's voice came over the comm. "I've been making some modifications. And I've been making some improvements to our ship systems," Lisa added. "Captain, you might want to tell everyone to hold on tight. You have 1 minute to surrender," Kreshtar's voice boomed. "Then we start shooting." "Lisa," Jake said carefully, "what kind of improvements?" "Well, I noticed our maneuvering thrusters were really inefficient. So I connected them to the waste recycling system's pressure pumps. Now we can move like a fighter instead of a cargo ship." "She connected our engines to the toilet system," Vexhai said faintly. "Also, I've been working on our power systems. The coffee maker has been doing such a good job managing energy flow that I've expanded its functions. It's now controlling most of our ship's systems." "Our ship is being run by a coffee maker," Resonance of Order observed. "A very efficient coffee maker," Lisa corrected. "And I've added some new defensive capabilities. The holographic entertainment system can now create false sensor readings. The kitchen's automated systems can manufacture various chemical compounds. And the environmental controls can now vent atmosphere in very creative ways." 30 seconds. Kreshtar warned. "Ryan," Jake said, "what's your plan?" "Simple," Ryan replied. "I'm going to board their command ship and convince them to surrender." "How?" Jake asked. "I'm going to use the garbage launcher to shoot myself over there." "That's suicide," Soft Swimming in Depths whispered. "No," Ryan said calmly, "that's Tuesday. I've calculated the trajectory, accounted for the zero-gravity environment, and prepared appropriate equipment." "What equipment?" Vexhai asked. "Kitchen knives, cleaning supplies, and a first aid kit. Oh, and some sandwiches." "I might get hungry." "He's going to attack a warship with lunch meat," Theron said. "Time's up," Kreshtar announced. "Prepare to be boarded." "Actually," Lisa said cheerfully, "I think they're going to be the ones with problems. I've been analyzing their formation and their position perfectly for what I like to call the confusing maneuver." "What's the confusing maneuver?" Jake asked. "I'm going to make them think we've exploded while actually making us invisible." "That's impossible," Resonance of Order said. "Watch me," Lisa replied. Suddenly the Stellar Wanderer seemed to explode. A brilliant flash of light and a cloud of debris filled the space where the ship had been. The pirate fleet stopped their attack run, confused by the sudden destruction. "Did we just blow up?" Vexhai asked. "Nope," Lisa said. "I used the holographic projectors to create a fake explosion. The debris is actually garbage from our recycling systems, and we're currently invisible thanks to some creative use of the environmental controls." "How are we invisible?" Jake asked. "I'm venting atmosphere in specific patterns that bend light around our ship. It's like a cloaking device made from air conditioning." "She's using the ventilation system as a cloaking device," Soft Swimming in Depth said wonderingly. "Meanwhile," Ryan added, "I'm getting ready to launch." Lisa, can you get me close to their command ship without them noticing? Already on it, Lisa replied. I've calculated their sensor blind spots. You'll have a clear approach vector. This is insane, Vexhai said. We're attacking 12 warships with garbage launchers and kitchen equipment. No, Jake said, realizing something important. We're not attacking them. We're confusing them. There's a difference. Exactly, Ryan said. Pirates expect their victims to fight back with weapons. They don't expect them to fight back with creativity. Launching in 3, 2, 1, Lisa announced. Through the transparent aluminum viewport, they could see a small figure shot out of their waste disposal system. Ryan was flying through space in a makeshift pressure suit, carrying what looked like a tool bag and a lunchbox. He's actually doing it, Thyron breathed. Captain, Vexhai said, I'm detecting something interesting. The pirate ships are moving into a search pattern. They're looking for survivors from our fake explosion. Perfect, Lisa said. While they're distracted, I can make some modifications to their ships. What kind of modifications? Jake asked. Well, I've been studying their engine signatures. If I can match their frequencies and send the right signals, I can convince their ship's computers that they're about to collide with each other. You're going to hack their ships using sound waves? Resonance of Order asked. Sort of. I'm going to use harmonic resonance to create false proximity alerts. Their safety systems will automatically make them avoid each other. That's brilliant, Thyron said. But how will you generate the right frequencies? I'm going to use our musical instruments from the recreation room, combined with Resonance of Order's natural harmonic abilities. You want me to sing at pirate ships? Resonance of Order asked. I want you to sing them into confusion. Lisa corrected. Jake watched as his crew began working together in ways that should have been impossible. Theron N was using her communication skills to monitor pirate transmissions. Vexhai was calculating mathematical trajectories for Lisa's harmonic attack. Soft Swimming in Depths was using her species' natural camouflage abilities to help hide. Their energy signatures? Ryan has reached the command ship, Thyron reported. Oh, my... What? Jake asked. He's knocked out 2 guards using what appears to be a sandwich. How do you knock someone out with a sandwich? Vexhai asked. I think he froze it first, Thyron said. Now he's using cleaning supplies to create a smokescreen in their corridors. Harmonic attack ready, Lisa announced. Resonance of Order, I need you to sing at frequency 447.3 Hz. That is a very unpleasant frequency, Resonance of Order protested. That's the point. It'll make their proximity sensors think they're about to crash into each other. The crystalline being began to sing. The sound was like nails on glass, but perfectly pitched. Combined with the ship's musical instruments, it created a signal that shot toward the pirate fleet. It's working, Vexhai reported. Their ships are moving away from each other. They think they're about to collide. Now they're confused and separated, Lisa said. Perfect for Phase 2? What's Phase 2? Jake asked. I'm going to convince them that they're under attack by a much larger force. How? I'm going to use our garbage to create fake ships. The debris from our fake explosion is still floating around out there. If I can make it look like it's moving in formation, they'll think they're surrounded. You're going to attack them with organized garbage, Soft Swimming in Depth said. I'm going to make them think they're being attacked by organized garbage, Lisa corrected. There's a difference. Through the CUM system, they could hear sounds of chaos from the pirate command ship. Ryan was systematically working his way through their vessel, using cleaning supplies to create slippery floors, kitchen knives as precision tools, and first aid supplies to treat the pirates he was knocking unconscious. He's being very polite, Thyron reported. He's leaving medical supplies next to each pirate he defeats. That's Ryan, Jake said. He doesn't like to hurt people unnecessarily. The pirate captain is demanding to know who's attacking them. Theron continued. Ryan told him it's just a human with a lunchbox. What did the captain say? He said that's impossible. Ryan said he should check with his crew. Lisa's fake ship attack was working perfectly. The scattered debris was moving in patterns that looked like coordinated ship movements. The pirate vessels were now completely confused, firing at garbage and trying to avoid imaginary collisions. "They're starting to panic," Vexhai observed. "Their formation is completely broken. Time for Phase 3, Lisa announced. "There's a Phase 3? Jake asked. "Ryan is about to take control of their command ship. When he does, I'm going to use their own communication system to broadcast a surrender demand." "From who?" "From the Human Defense Force." "We don't have a Human Defense Force," Resonance of Order pointed out. "They don't know that," Lisa said cheerfully. Right on schedule, Ryan's voice came over the pirate communication channel. "This is Ryan Blake of the Human Defense Force. Your fleet is surrounded and outgunned. Surrender now, and you will be treated according to galactic law." "This is impossible," Kreshtaris' voice snarled. "We have 12 ships." "And we have humans," Ryan replied calmly. "Would you like a demonstration of hum?" The Stellar Wanderer docked at New Cygnus Station without any more incidents. The quantum processors were delivered safely, and the crew had earned a substantial bonus for their successful mission. But as they sat in the station's cantina, sharing drinks and stories, Jake noticed something remarkable had happened to his crew. They were different people now. Vexhai was sketching engineering diagrams on his tablet, combining Zephyrian mathematical precision with Lisa's creative approach to problem-solving. The designs looked impossible, but Jake had learned that impossible was just another word for hasn't been tried yet. Farron was talking to other ship crews, sharing stories about their recent adventures, but she wasn't just telling the stories as an observer. She was describing herself as a participant, someone who had helped create the solutions. Resonance of Order was humming new melodies, complex harmonies that combine the mathematical perfection of crystalline music with the chaotic creativity of human jazz. Other crystalline beings were gathering to listen, their own crystals resonating with the new sounds. Soft swimming in depths was no longer hiding in the corners of the cantina. She was sitting at a table with other Velari, describing their adventures with excitement rather than fear. Her tentacles moved expressively as she talked, no longer curled defensively around her body. "Captain," Ryan said, sitting down with a fresh drink, "I've been thinking about what happened out there." "What conclusions have you reached?" Jake asked. "We didn't just complete a mission," Ryan said. "We created something new. A way of thinking that combines human creativity with alien expertise. Is that good or bad?" Jake asked. "Both," Lisa said, joining them at the table. "It's good because it works. It's bad because it's going to change everything." "What do you mean?" "Look around," Lisa said, gesturing at the cantina. "Word is already spreading. Other crews are asking about our methods. Station administrators want to know how we defeated 12 pirate ships without firing a single weapon." Jake looked around the cantina. Lisa was right. Other crews were watching them, listening to their conversations, asking questions about their techniques. "The galaxy is about to discover that humans aren't just useful for dangerous missions," Ryan said. "They're useful for changing how other species think. And that," Lisa added, "is going to terrify them even more." "Why?" Jake asked. "Because most species like predictability," Ryan explained. "They want to know what's going to happen next. Humans make everything unpredictable." "But in a good way," Vexhai said, joining the conversation. "Captain, I've been thinking about our experiences. The humans did not just solve our problems. They taught us to solve problems we didn't even know we had." "How so?" Jake asked. "Before this mission, I would have seen the solar flare as an impossible situation. I would have calculated our chances of survival and accepted death as inevitable. But Lisa showed me that impossible situations are just puzzles waiting to be solved. And I learned that communication isn't just about sending messages," Thyron added. "It's about creating understanding. When we used the pirates' own signals against them, we weren't just jamming their communications. We were teaching them to understand human methods. The humans showed us that harmony doesn't require perfect order," Resonance of Order chimed. "Chaos can create its own form of music. And fear doesn't have to be the response to danger," Soft Swimming in Depths sighed. "It can be the beginning of curiosity." Jake looked at his crew. They weren't just describing tactical lessons. They were describing a fundamental change in how they saw the universe. "So what happens now?" he asked. "Now," Ryan said, "we get another mission, and another crew gets to learn what we learned." "Actually," Lisa said, pulling out her tablet, "I've been reading our next assignment. It's that peace treaty negotiation I mentioned. Two species that have been at war for 300 years. The Scarani and the Velthari," Jake said. "Everyone knows about that conflict. It's been going on so long that most people have forgotten what started it. According to the files," Lisa continued, "dozens of diplomatic missions have failed. The two species refuse to even be in the same room together." "So why are we being sent?" Vexhai asked. "Because," Ryan said with a grin, "we have humans." "But how do humans help with diplomacy?" Resonance of Order asked. "The same way we help with everything else," Lisa said. "We find connections that other people miss. We use tools that weren't designed for the job. We turn impossible situations into interesting puzzles. And most importantly," Ryan added, "we don't accept that things have to stay the way they are." Jake received a message on his device. "Speaking of our next mission, we're being reassigned. The Stellar Wanderer is being upgraded to a diplomatic vessel." "What kind of upgrades?" Lisa asked, her eyes lighting up. "Enhanced communication systems, better quarters for passengers, and expanded galley for hosting formal dinners." "Oh, this is going to be fun," Lisa said. "I can already think of at least 12 ways to improve diplomatic communication using kitchen equipment. And I can see several opportunities to use hospitality as a tactical advantage," Ryan added. "They're already planning to turn diplomacy into a creative engineering project," Vexhai observed. "Why does that not surprise me?" Jake asked. "Because," Thirin said, "we've learned that humans turn everything into a creative engineering project. That's their gift. And their curse," Soft Swimming in Depths added. "They can't leave anything alone. They always think it can be improved." "Is that bad?" Jake asked. "Not bad," Resonance of Order chimed. "Just relentless. Humans never stop trying to make things better. Which is why the galaxy fears them," Ryan said. "Most species reach a point where they're satisfied with how things are. Humans never reach that point. We're always looking for the next improvement, the next solution, the next impossible thing to try," Lisa agreed. "It's exhausting for everyone else." "But it's also inspiring," Vexhai said. "I find myself looking at problems differently now. Instead of calculating why something won't work, I'm thinking about how it might work. And I'm listening to communications for hidden connections instead of just obvious messages," Thirin added. "I'm creating new harmonies instead of just preserving old ones," Resonance of Order chimed. "And I'm approaching dangerous situations with curiosity instead of fear," Soft Swimming in Depth said. Jake realized something important. The humans hadn't just changed his crew's methods. They had changed their fundamental approach to existence. "So," he said, "when we arrive at the peace negotiations, what's going to happen?" "We're going to do something that's never been tried before," Ryan said. "Which is?" Jake asked. "We're going to treat the peace negotiation like any other impossible problem," Lisa said. "We're going to find creative solutions using tools that weren't designed for the job. And we're going to inspire the Scarani and Velthari to think differently about their conflict," Vexhai added. "By showing them that enemies can become allies when they work together on impossible problems," Theron continued. "Creating harmony from chaos," Resonance of Order chimed. "And turning fear into curiosity," Soft Swimming in Depths finished. Jake smiled. His crew was no longer just following human methods. They were creating their own hybrid approach that combined human creativity with their own species' strengths. "Well," he said, "it sounds like we're about to make history." "Or create a diplomatic incident," Ryan said cheerfully. "Or both," Lisa added. "Both is good," Vexhai said. "Both is interesting." As they prepared to leave New Cygna Station, Jake reflected on what had happened during their mission. They had started as a collection of different species working together out of necessity. They had ended as something entirely new, a crew that thought like humans, but applied that thinking through alien expertise, the galaxy's fear of humans. Jake now understood wasn't about their unpredictability or their disregard for safety protocols. It was about their ability to change everything they touched. Humans didn't just solve problems. They transformed the people around them into problem-solvers. And that transformation was spreading. As word of their mission spread through the galaxy, other crews would start asking questions. Other species would start wondering if there were better ways to approach impossible situations. Other civilizations would start thinking about problems as opportunities rather than obstacles. The humans were creating a revolution, one crew at a time. "Captain," Lisa said as they boarded the Stellar Wanderer, "I've been thinking about our ship's new diplomatic systems." "What about them?" Jake asked. "I think I can improve them by connecting the communication array to the coffee maker." "Of course you can," Jake said. "And I've been analyzing the psychological profiles of the Scarani and Velthari," Ryan added. "I think I can use the ship's recreational facilities to create a neutral environment for negotiations." "Using games and entertainment as diplomacy?" Jake asked. "Why not?" Ryan said. "Sometimes the best way to get people to work together is to give them something fun to do." "They're going to turn peace negotiations into a party," Thyron said. "A very organized party," Vexai added. "With musical accompaniment," Resonance of Order chimed. "And excellent food," Soft Swimming in Depth said. Jake laughed. His crew had become something unprecedented, a fusion of human creativity and alien expertise that could tackle any impossible problem, and they were Rue.